My name's Gary McPike. I'm General Manager for Barwon Coast. I've been in the position now about 2.5 years. Barwon Coast are appointed by state government. We manage the coastal Crown lands, as probably most of you know, from 7W down at Colandina across to 42W at the far end of 13th Beach. We also manage the caravan parks that are listed there, Barwon Heads, Riverview, Riverside. We're also the port managers on behalf of state government. We have a primary responsibility to state government and also, more importantly, to our community to manage risk and provide a safe environment for all the users of the land we manage as best we possibly can. Today is about, as I said, informing our community of the issues we have around dogs on our beaches. Dogs on our beaches are by far the biggest public amenity issue that we deal with. We have quite a large file of complaints about issues to do with dogs. A lot of people come to us and say, we're too scared to go to the beach. My kids won't go to the beach over summer because of uncontrolled dogs. It's become, as I said, a major issue for us that we get feedback on almost weekly. We also have serious impacts for wildlife on the beach we manage. It's regular that we have incidents that we have to deal with the native wildlife that we're duty-bound in a lot of ways to protect. So it's about informing our community about their responsibilities when they're on the beach with respect to other users and wildlife, making everyone aware of the different concerns of dog owners and non-dog owners. At this stage, ShareOurShores is not about changing our controlled orders that are enforced on our behalf by City of Greater Geelong. It's the start of a process of review for these orders. In the new year, we'll start a program of broad community engagement, and we'll be seeking feedback from all users. Those who use the beaches to take their dogs there, those who don't, to try and frame a better set of controls than we've got at the moment. The problem we have at the moment is they're quite complex, and we freely admit they're not well signed, they're not well understood. Similarly, nor are dog owners' responsibility under legislation. I don't think many people have a good concept of what effective or supervised control of your dog means, and that's a major challenge for us, something that we're repeatedly made aware of. It's certainly not about banning dogs from beaches. I don't think we'll ever see that. I know there's other parts of the world that don't allow dogs on beaches at all, but I would think that we will see moving forward areas of beaches where dogs will be prohibited from, so that people who are too scared to go to the beach at the moment can do so with a certain amount of confidence that their kids aren't going to have to, and they aren't going to have to be continually looking over their shoulders. I'd also think we'd see sections of beaches where dogs will be allowed off lead all the time. But it's finding that right mix for us, and it's hopefully also, as we develop this process, raising everybody's awareness about the issues related to dogs in public places. For us, it's the beaches, but it's also the paths and the car parks, our caravan parks, and how we manage dogs there. As I said, why are we doing this? We regularly get reports of people too scared to go to the beach because of uncontrolled dogs, increasing reports of people injured by other dogs, either being bitten or rushed by uncontrolled dogs. We regularly get reports, personally experience, and find the evidence of dog attacks on our wildlife. What really focused our attention in the last year was 3 incidents. Most recently, we had a young boy with his family down at Riverview Family Caravan Park. He was sitting there eating a sausage roll. A dog's come off the walking path down the side of the river, rushed up to him, bitten him on the hand and taken his sausage roll. Another recent incident was a woman participating in a fitness class down at the Rotunda on Ocean Grove Main Beach. She was bitten on the stomach by a dog, an uncontrolled dog. It's worth noting here that both those incidents didn't happen on beaches. And when you're not on the beach, the local law is, and this is controlled by, it's part of our control orders, and it's very similar for what City of Greater Geelong does. When you're not on the beach and you're in a car park or on a path to the beach or a path along the river, your dog must be on a lead. Earlier in the year, we had an environmental science honours degree student studying the feeding effects of hooded plovers. Hooded plover chicks, to get a better understanding of why they don't survive, and they have a very low survival rate. This study was to look at what's happening with them, especially over the busy times. They're very timid birds. When there's a lot of people around, or dogs for that matter, they hide and we think starve to death. As part of this work, he fitted a transmitter, a micro transmitter that weighed a bit over a gram, to the back of a hooded plover chick. Unfortunately, when he went to look for it one morning, he found the transmitter in a poo bag with the bird that he was studying. And a later autopsy, I think at the Werribee Vet Centre, confirmed that it was a result of a dog attack. These are the sort of things that we get regularly, but of recent are something that really focused our attention moving forward. The problems we have at the moment is that there's really limited understanding of what effective or supervised control means. It doesn't mean you let your dog out at the car park to run down to the beach and then run along and you catch up later. It doesn't mean that you walk along the beach chatting with your friends while your dog's frolicking all over the place. Some of you who follow the Facebook, the Ocean Grove Barwon Heads Community Facebook notice board, may have caught the discussion that went on last year about a guy who was throwing a ball with his son and a dog rushed at him, he kicked the dog. Well, the discussion that went on after that was about 20 pages worth of, how dare he, assault a dog, and, well, how dare the owner not have effective control. So it's obviously, we understand and know, a really hot topic. But, what was the bloke to do? He didn't know what the dog was going to do. Another one is, dogs just let to roam free on crowded beaches. Some people might point the finger at surfers who just let the dog on the beach while they're out in the water. We do have on record a couple of years ago where a person went down and counted the dogs off lead on the on-lead area of the Ocean Grove Vane Beach. 5 dogs on lead, 65 dogs off lead. Dogs allowed to rush at other users and in some cases attack other dogs and people. It's an offence under state legislation for your dog to rush at a person or wildlife. And I'll go into another interesting one too, dogs off lead in on-lead areas. Dogs in no-go areas. The marine sanctuary around the bluff is a no-dog area, as is the environmental area down the far end of 13th Beach, between 40 and 42W. What we want to do, the knowledge, understandings and attitudes we need to improve. What is effective and supervised control? What does it mean? We need to counter the notion it's a dog beach so others have no rights here. There is no real thing as a dog beach. It's a privilege to be able to let your dog off the lead and a privilege that comes with responsibilities. That's according to us, it's according to the legislation. It'd be great if we could change the attitude of dog owners who, when they're taken to task both by our staff and officers, don't get aggressive and offensive. It's something a lot of people, we get regular feedback is that, this guy's dog was all over the place, I challenged him, he just told me where to go. People need to know where they can take their dog and where they can't take their dog, where my dog can be off lead and where it must be on lead at all times. As this program develops and moves forward, these are the sorts of bits of information we might want to make everybody aware of and start the community thinking about, what changes, if anything, do we need to do. Rushing people really came to light about 3 or 4 weeks ago when an Age reporter wrote this article, "Whose off-leash dog beach is it anyway? Answer, not your dog's." This bloke was on the beach. Some of you would have read the article. His little dog's run up and licked a baby on a towel on the tummy. Mum's triple-O'd the cops, got them down there, they charged him, he walked away with a $238 fine, hence the article. But for him, while he was questioning it, his main message was, this is something we should all be aware of. You can be pinged for this sort of stuff. One thing that really annoyed me was it ended up on the project the next week and Kerry Bickmore said, the mother should have known better. It was a dog beach. And which, got me ranting at the TV a little bit because that's a misconception, as I said before. There are places where you can take your dog to the beach off lead, but it's not a right, it's a privilege and it comes with responsibilities. There's some extracts out of the Domestic Animals Act, which is one of the bits of legislation that impacts all of us with dogs in public places. They have penalties there ranging from 40 penalty units down to 10 and 4. Currently, a penalty unit's $158. Mark will talk about some of the penalties that are able to be applied under the Wildlife Act, which is substantially greater than this. So this summer, we've started this stakeholder group. We're going to be working together, and the patrol officers from Parks Victoria, City of Greater Geelong and DELP will coordinate together so we get maximum coverage on our beaches. One thing we've found out through this whole process, especially after discussion with Phillip Island Nature Park, is that compliance is the best teacher. We've done education to death for a long time and we'll continue to do that. But I think a lot of people ignore the signage, limited as it is, that's there because they know they won't get pinged for it. So Phillip Island found when they trained all their officers to be able to hand out penalty infringement notices, the compliance improved markedly, and to the point where they've backed off on the numbers of penalties that they've got to hand out. We've partnered, Barwon Coast has partnered with the City of Greater Geelong this year to engage a new environmental local laws officer. That person will be focusing particularly on dogs. And we'll continue as a group with the other agencies with a program aimed at raising awareness of the issues around dogs on beaches in our public spaces. One of the things that we thought when we went through all this and started this program up is, what do we know? We've got the anecdotal stuff that comes back, the reports, but we don't really have a good understanding. So Barwon Coast is engaged with FedUni and CERTI, the Centre for E-Research and Digital Innovation, to start a survey program. There's questionnaires that are available here tonight, and Kate, who's up the back, most of you met when you come in, would be able to tell you how to fill those in. That'll be the first step in providing information on an ongoing research program. Over summer, we expect to have more detailed surveys, and I'd encourage you all to fill them in if you can. We're committed to community engagement. We can only make the best informed decisions the more people participate in what we do. We're also looking at doing a more longitudinal study, but possibly engaging a PhD student, which will be far-reaching over time, 2, 3, 4 years, and over a broader scope of area. Hopefully engaging our other Category 1 committees of management at Bellarine Bayside, Great Ocean Road Coast Committee and Otway Coast, to inform us about the actions that we take to inform and try and change behaviour in our community and what bears fruit. So a study that will look at what we're doing and is it really having any effect. I think I'm almost towards the end. Now, I'm a dog owner. This is my dog Zelda, down at the beach where we used to live at Moringa, that's Mounts Bay Beach there. She's rather cute, but maybe not so when she's coming at you like that with the devil eyes. And that's just, I think, is a good example of, you know, I don't know that dog. Well, I do know that dog, but you don't know that dog. What's it going to do when it gets to me? Zelda, until I got her out of it, used to have a habit of sitting and stalking other dogs on the beach. When they got close enough, she'd go run at them full belt and then get to them and do a circle around and then stop and lick and carry on and do all that sort of thing. But people who were being approached like that didn't know that. So where to from here? We're going to commit to improving our signage. We're going to do the summer work with FedUni, and in the first half of next year we'll be starting this review of all our dog controls, and we'll be looking to you, the community, to give us the feedback, tell us the issues, tell us your concerns, so that we can make the best informed decision of what we need to do moving forward. That's about it from me. Thank you.